This is Hino's Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. Told y'all, man, my boy, man, that Dominican dude had to tighten me up, dog. You know what I'm saying? Hino's Sport got to stay getting tightened up, dog. That's what I'm talking about, man. You know what I'm saying? Had that thing woofing, dog. But anyways, let's get on to the damn video, man. Hear me and hear me well. Let's get on to it, man. The three most hated fighters in boxing in PBC. You got Deontay Wilder. You got, you know what I'm saying, Errol the True Spence, and you got Gervonta Tank Davis. Here's the problem. Here's the dichotomy with these guys. These guys are fighters that are hated on an epic proportion and an epic magnitude. When it comes to the sport of boxing, when it comes to the sweet science, these guys are hated on a level that is just ridiculous. That's the truth of the fact of the matter. Folks don't want to hit the, you know what I'm saying, needle on the thumb. They don't want to address the elephant in the room, but He Knows the Sport has to continue to address the elephant in the room. Here's the problem with folks. When they see fighters like Deontay Wilder, Errol the True Spence, and Gervonta Tank Davis comfortable in their own skin, men with confidence, purpose, and an abundance mindset, it creates folks that have to be detractors. I told you guys, when greatness personified is in the building, detractors are not too far behind them. Let me say it again. When greatness personified is in the building, detractors are not too far behind them. This is what a guy like Deontay Wilder deals with. This guy just tied Muhammad Ali for an unprecedented 10 title defense. This is something that should be celebrated in boxing. Is it celebrated? No. People don't sit here and give the man the respect. He's taking on all comers. A fighter who was once the boogeyman of the heavyweight division. Deontay Wilder knocked this guy out, not but twice. Let me say it again, not but twice. That's what he did. So why is he not getting respect for that? His last name is Wilder. Take the ER out. It's Wild. This means this guy is a wild, loose cannon. Let me say it again. He's a wild, loose cannon. He's willing to take on wild risk. That's why he told you in the press conference going into the fight, they call me Wilder because I'm wild with it, man. I'm willing to take on challenges that nobody else in the respective division is taking on. Nobody wanted to fight Luis Ortiz. Not AJ Devo, you know what I'm saying, who's now regressed to AJ Humble because of Andy Ruiz. We found out that he became an AJ dud. Not Tyson Fury, who's fighting bum bashes a la Otto Wallin, the number 46 heavyweight contender, and a la, you know what I'm saying, Tom Schwartz, the number 56 heavyweight contender. This is what this guy's regressed to. But the Gypsy King, the one with the mental lapse, is the one that's going to beat Deontay Wilder. So, hold up. When you knock somebody down twice, do you not realize that's 2 points? Do the math. That's 4 points. So how is it a draw? Let me say it again. When you knock somebody down twice, especially when the second knockdown is technically a knockout because he had a 5-second reprieve, and on top of that with an 8-second count, so basically the referee counted 13 seconds. How is that not a knockout? You know what I'm saying? See, this is what people don't want to address in the room. The elephant. He Knows the Sport will always address the elephant in the room. Deontay Wilder gets disrespected. This is what we call reverse bias. This is the pandering narratives that's out here in boxing. Fans are, you know what I'm saying, these reverse fans, that is, are the reason why the sport is in the dumpster the way that it is. Let me say it again. Reverse bias fans are the reason why the sport is in the dumpster the way that it is. And when I say dumpster, I'm not saying dumpster like the sport of boxing is completely obsolete. But let's keep it a buck here. The sport of boxing is in a bad situation. Because when you have a Canelo Alvarez who supposedly is a cash cow, and he's fighting a Sergey Kovalev, and he has to wait for a Jorge Masvidal versus a Nate Diaz fight in order for him to go in and fight, the sport is in a bad situation. Because this is the guy that supposedly is the cash cow. So if your supposed cash cow has to wait on an MMA fight, the sport is in a bad situation. But it's not, has nothing to do with Canelo Alvarez. We knew him to be a pretender. We knew him to be a dud. It has everything to do with the sport itself in terms of boxing fans, reverse bias fans. These are the ones that say spitting and shitting on PBC fighters. At the end of the day, these are fighters. So the boxing community needs to be held accountable. Why are you sitting here and spitting on a guy like Deontay Wilder, spitting on a guy like Errol the True Spence? That's a unified heavyweight champion at that. 26-0. And the new IBF and WBC champion. This guy's doing more heavyweight lifting in the division than anyone else. Errol the True Spence is taking on challenges, man. I mean, he stepped it up. He fought Sean Porter for a unification bout. Instead of this being respected, oh, are we in Drunk Anonymous? You know what I'm saying? We're wishing Errol the True Spence to get in a car crash so he could duck Terrence Bud Crawford. We're wishing that he doesn't pull through in a car crash. And even worse, this is what reverse bias fans have done. Oh, we want him to die. This is what boxing has been regressed to. It's not even about the sport anymore. It's about people spewing their insecurity and their misery. Let me say it again. It's about people spewing their insecurity and their misery at its truest and its most properest levels. Gervonta Tank Davis. This guy's an undefeated fighter. Last time I checked, he's a 2-time champion. How are you exposed when there's no blueprint to beat you? Oof, what I said was so deep and profound. Let me rewind it because it needs to marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. Hear me and hear me well. How are you undefeated? How are you exposed when you are undefeated? That means there's no blueprint to beat you. Gervonta Tank Davis was supposed to fight Abner Maris. But between him and Robert Garcia, they didn't know if he had a retinal or elbow. I don't know. You still need to talk to the both of them. They need to figure it out. Because I still don't believe that retina story. I believe he didn't want to get KO'd by Gervonta Tank Davis or TKO'd. That's why he ran his rabbit ass away from that fight. We got to keep it a buck here, man. We got to call a spade a what? A spade. Keep that thing 100 and keep it real here. The truth of the fact of the matter is these guys are the 3 most hated guys in boxing. Hence, it's because of what they bring to the table. And even the reverse bias fans have admitted that they all are talented fighters. They all move the thumb and they all move the needle in their respective division. They want everybody to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. Notice that. They want him to fight Devin Haney. They want him to fight Vasily Lomachenko. They want him to fight Teofimo Lopez. They want him to fight Richard Coleman. They want him to fight Miguel Burchell. Errol the True Spence. They want him to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. They want him to fight Eudenis Ugas. They want him to fight Danny Garcia. You see what I'm saying? And at one point in time, they wanted him to fight Keith Thurman. Deontay Wilder. They want him to still fight AJ Devo, who has been regressed to AJ Humble, who basically is an AJ dud. They still want him to fight him. They want him to fight Andy Ruiz Jr. They want him to fight Dillian White. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to these guys, the same standard is not being held. That should tell you right there there's a reversed situation going on in boxing that the elephant in the room needs to be addressed. But we have to keep the foot on the what? On the necks. We got to keep the foot on the what? On the necks. We have to do this, folks. Because if we're not keeping the foot on the necks here and applying unlimited pressure, then we can't address the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is this. Boxing has been regressed to mediocrity because of these reverse bias fans. They're not holding a standard here. And because they're not holding a standard to the sport of boxing, they have, in all essence, denigrated the sport because of the fact that they lack moral turpitude. I told you guys, when a man doesn't show you his face, he lacks moral turpitude. This is what we're regressed to. We're regressed to whatever the farts their names are. We're regressed to titty typers. We're regressed to folks that's telling you, the weight bully Spence, and their Tourette's syndrome. We're regressed to these things, man. These are the reverse bias fans that are sitting here, a la content creators, giving you nonsense about the sport. They're not giving you the truth. But when he knows the sport is breaking it down in cold-hearted, unadulterated, cutthroat, truth-telling fashion, you guys get it. You guys get the message. Because I keeps the foot on the what? On the necks. I keeps the foot on the what? On the necks of these Rudy Poo and these plum brain ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. We ain't got time for the rhetoric. We got to kick that thing out the damn door. Because when it's there, it's evident that, like I said, pandering narratives, they can only go up to the ceiling. They have a ceiling cap. And what happens when you throw something up to the ceiling? Eventually it has to do what? Come down because of the law of gravity. Let me say it again. Pandering narratives fall under the realm of the law of gravity. Because once they go up to the ceiling, which is their cap, the ceiling, what eventually has to happen? It has to come down. So when you have a Deontay Wilder that's tied for 10 title defenses a la Muhammad Ali, salute it. When you got Errol the True Spence, that's a unified IBF and WBC champion of the welterweight division, the most decorated strap guy, the guy that makes the welterweight division the most exciting when he is there, and it's a standstill now because he's not there. Salute it. When you have Gervonta Tank Davis that ran up to 135 pounds so that he can make it exciting with the Vasily Lomachenkos of the world, the Richard Coleman's of the world, the Devin Haney's of the world, anybody that Gervonta Tank Davis' name is synonymous with at 130, 135, and 140, it's moving the thumb and moving the needle. Salute it. Stop hating on these three guys. Because when you hate on them, you know what it does? It exposes your misery and it exposes your insecurity as a reverse bias fan. Let me say it again. When you hate on these guys, it exposes your misery and it exposes your insecurity as a reverse bias boxing fan. Because you don't want these guys to succeed. So my point and my agenda by what I'm telling you guys is this. Stop the nonsense on promoting fighters that you like and spitting on fighters that you don't like. Let me say it again. Stop the nonsense of promoting fighters that you like and spitting on fighters that you don't like. Because you know what? It basically states that you're the problem with the sport and not the sport it is itself. It's really that simple, folks. This is He Knows the Sport. Checking out.